Hey, if you're pregnant over 40, I have just the community for you. It's a private community away from Facebook where women just like you come together to meet and support one another during pregnancy. To sign up for the waitlist, go to over40fabulousandpregnant.com/waitlist and be the first to know when the membership is open. I can't wait to see you inside. Welcome to Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant. You're listening to episode 13. I am your host, Jamie Massey. And you know we aren't supposed to talk about women's age, but I want to celebrate it and support every woman's pregnancy over 40. While we do discuss medical treatments and medicine, you know we're not doctors. These are women's experiences that came before us, not medical advice. On today's show, we have Rhiannon from Ohio. Rhiannon has 2 grown children from a previous relationship, and she planned to have more children with her husband, but she didn't even have a husband. She planned and she created a vision for meeting this man to marry, and y'all, it worked. And this theme of planning and advocating for herself is really carried throughout her pregnancy at 43. Now, we do talk about miscarriage if you're sensitive to that, and the timing of this miscarriage. It was so unfortunate, and my heart just broke for her listening to it. But of course, we do end on a happy note. And we're very lucky we get to hear her new baby a few times throughout if you can find them. For the show updates, this show is the show that y'all voted on Instagram to come out after Christmas. It was a unanimous vote to have it come out on the day after Christmas instead of the first of the year. And on that same note, I want you to have some say in the podcast in the community, so stay tuned for more questions on Instagram as we grow. Also, I want to expand the community beyond this podcast and social media, and I want you to be able to connect with women who are also 40. So I'm working to coordinate a brunch in Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm planning it to be in Grapevine because it's centrally located. It's kind of by the airport in the Metroplex. And Stephanie from episode 2 says she's in. I still don't have a date locked in, but I'm still thinking mid to late February. And if you want more details on this brunch, please email me or DM me on Instagram. You can always email me at jamie@over40fabulousandpregnant.com. And with that, let's get into Rhiannon's pregnancy journey. Rhiannon, welcome to the show.
Hello, good to see you.
Thanks for coming on. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself before we get started into your story?
Yeah, my name is Rhiannon Carnes. I am 44, and I live in Pickerington, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus. I have a son who is 25. He'll be 26 in a couple weeks, a 15-year-old daughter, and then I have a newborn who is 2 months today, and 7 bonus children with my husband.
Yay. So tell us about getting pregnant. Was this a planned pregnancy?
Yes, it was planned. Me and my husband are newly married. We got married in last year in March 21, and we met during the pandemic. We actually went to high school together, but we kind of rekindled during the pandemic, and which was like 25 years later. So I think the pandemic kind of like sped up like our relationship because, people were quarantining together and people were in isolation from like literally the rest of the world. And so we just spent a lot of time with each other and we got engaged within 2 months of after not seeing each other for 25 years, and we got married in so in 5 months. So I always knew that, and it's my first marriage. I always knew that I wanted to have children with my husband, but I also knew like that time clock was ticking. I was 42 at the time when we met. And so for the last several years, have been really like planning me having this child without knowing who I was going to have this child with.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was 30, no, I think I was 40, I had a surgery. I had a myomectomy and I had some very large fibroids and cysts on my ovaries. And I had those removed. And at the time, my doctor was encouraging me to get a hysterectomy because of my age and I already had 2 kids. Yeah, but something in my heart, because I always knew I wanted to have another child, and I always knew that I wanted to meet that person that I was going to marry and have my children with. And I declined. And so I was very adamant about that. And I went through the surgery, and it was a rough surgery. I had like 7 fibroids and, like I said, cysts. And, but they did tell me, like, after that surgery that I would have to have a C-section. So I had my other 2 children vaginally, but I was told like I would have to have a C-section after the surgery, and I was fine with that. So every year that passed, after I had the surgery, I kept thinking like, my chances are getting lower and lower. And after my surgery, my doctor had told me like to start trying within 6 months, just because of my age. But I wasn't with anyone at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So my birthday is in September, so I had like this timeline in my mind, like I'm going to meet someone in September and I give myself 6 months and start working on this baby.
I love
And
it.
that 6 month, and that 6 month mark was in March. And so I picked out a date. It was March 13th because I had a loved one who passed away. That was her birthday. So I like had this vision in my mind that I was going to get married. I was going to find somebody and we were going to have this baby on March 13th or get married
Mm-hmm.
on March 13th and have this baby. So I met my husband in October 2020. And like I said, it kind of went pretty fast. And, um, he kept saying he wanted to marry me. I was like, how about March 13th? And he said yes. So, uh, so we kind of started right away because I knew I had to, start soon. So, got pregnant pretty quickly, which was surprising. And, um, as we were preparing for our wedding, we had just found out in February that, we were pregnant. And then, come our wedding day, that morning, I just wanted to spend some time to myself, because I know I was going to be surrounded by a bunch of people. And I went out to eat just to get some breakfast alone. And I went to the restroom and I noticed that I was spotting.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I wasn't really having a lot of pregnancy symptoms. And when I went to the doctor, they said they didn't see anything, but it could have been early. So when I started spotting, I kind of knew that I was having a miscarriage. And I did miscarry that on our wedding day. This is in 21. And throughout my whole wedding day, I was miscarrying. And throughout
Oh,
our entire honeymoon, I was miscarrying. So that was like really disappointing for both of us. And even him, I think at the time, it was hard for him to like accept. Like he was like, oh, you still should be fine. I'm like, I don't think so. And I've had 2 kids, so I kind of know.
mm-hmm.
So then after that,
You
yeah, I was
still
just
got
like ready.
married while you're
Yeah, it was
miscarrying and
still,
everything. Oh my gosh. How emotional.
yeah, it was. It was like one of the highest moments of my life and also kind of one of the lowest disappointing, moments of my life at the same time. But it was
Definitely.
good in the sense that, yeah. we were going to Maui for our honeymoon, and I almost didn't go because I didn't know how my body would, take that on a flight for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And but I just was feeling okay. So I went ahead and went on our honeymoon. So it was good to be on a beautiful island with my new husband, even though I was going, through something that was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
So we came back, obviously, and from our honeymoon, and after that, I really, still wanted to try. I just didn't know because I was 42,
Mm-hmm.
and you read everything, and everything tells you like, your chances are very small. And so I decided to see a fertility specialist, and they put me on some medication. I was on, actually, I have it here just so I remember the name of it. It's clomiphene
Okay.
and estradiol, what I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And I
What was
used
that
that, I was
for?
on that to help with like ovulation and
Mm.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So it would increase my chances to get pregnant and also not miscarry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it stimulated my ovaries to yeah, to help produce more eggs, I suppose. So I did that for about 6 months, and that medication made me weird. Like it made me, first of all, I had insomnia with it and couldn't sleep. And then I was like, not a nice person.
Oh no.
I was like, I guess it was the hormones in it. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was that until I was like snapping. My husband was like, what is your problem? And I'm like, I don't know. So I had to, I had to pause for a minute, like, what is different? Like, what is going on with me? And I realized it was this medication.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, like, I don't know if and it wasn't working. Like, it was 6 months and I still wasn't pregnant. And they had did another ultrasound and I had fibroids again. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, is this worth it? Is this something that do I really want to do this? Like, we already have, so many children. And it was getting to the point where they wanted to like test his sperm, make sure everything was okay. So I was like, well, before I do all of that, let me really check in with myself and make sure like this is the route we want to go. And then also it's costly, like if I have
Mm-hmm.
to do IVF, like that's a lot of money. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and we still have 9 kids, between the two of us. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, let me just pause for a minute. So I waited, and then during that time, my mother was really sick and had passed away. And so it was just kind of like a moment for me of just like my year was a lot. I got married. Experienced a lot of grief with my mother, miscarrying, all of those things. So I just need to just, take a moment and kind of really think about where we're at and what we want to do. So that's kind of like how I ended 21. And then in 22, in February, again, just like the year before, we
Wow.
found out we're pregnant again.
How was that?
I
Were how did it go?
I was surprised because I just still didn't believe that I could
Mm-hmm.
be, 43 now and pregnant. Like I just didn't believe it because, all the research tells you otherwise. Your
Mm-hmm.
doctors aren't really reassuring. And even when I went to the fertility specialist, they weren't really reassuring that I could do it, on my own. So even still, I didn't really believe it. And when I took the test, it's because I was late, but yeah. So I took the test and I sat it down for a little bit because I'm like, I'm not even going to look at it because I don't even want to believe it. Um, but I waited. I started cleaning up the house and I was like, okay, go back and look. So I went back and looked and it said yes. What? I couldn't believe it. So I was excited. I took a picture. I couldn't even wait till my husband got home from work and I sent it to him. And he called me right after I sent it to him. He didn't even mention it. He started talking about something else. I'm like, did you get my text message? I thought that's why you called me. He was like, I don't believe that's real. And I'm like, it is. So we were so excited. But this time I wanted to wait to announce because of what happened before.
Hmm.
But he just was so excited. He started telling people right away. I'm like, well, you don't know, And he's like, I know this is it. And I did have symptoms this time. And I was showing really, really early, like my stomach was already kind of like, I guess bloated, but I could tell at that
Hmm.
point, like that this would probably be successful.
Hmm. Were
And
you still on those drugs?
no, I had stopped taking them by like that July. Like I took them for like 6 months,
Mm.
and then I just stopped because I was like, gave me anxiety and yeah, like I said, the insomnia, and it wasn't working. So I just stopped taking them to kind of like reevaluate where I was at.
Hmm.
So I had taken them for like 6 months,
Hmm.
and I was completely off of it. And so yeah, we got pregnant on our own naturally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did your pregnancy go?
Yeah, it was really good. Like my other pregnancies, like I've had like, a lot of morning sickness. This one I did not, so that was kind of different for me. And it was also alarming because I'm looking for every sign that says that it's not going to be successful. So I'm like, I
Mm.
don't have morning sickness, so maybe this isn't going to, be a successful pregnancy. But what I did have was like an increased appetite. That has never happened to me before. So, you know how you hear like these stories like you're hungry while you're pregnant and you have all these cravings. I never experienced that.
Hmm.
So I didn't really necessarily believe that that happened because I'm like, I never experienced it. But at 40, I guess it's like, over 40, I guess your body is like, yeah, feed me.
Hmm.
So I was hungry all the time, and yeah, that was pretty much it. I had to eat like I feel like every 30 minutes I needed something to eat. And so that first trimester I felt like I gained like 10 pounds very quickly for me. Usually in my other pregnancies I always lost weight because I had a lot of severe nausea and vomiting.
Mm.
So gaining weight this time I was like, oh my gosh, like I hope I don't gain too much weight, and trying to be mindful of that, but I just ate whatever I wanted to eat. I couldn't help it.
What
So
did you crave
so
during that
yeah.
time?
I craved anything savory, and I love
Mm.
spicy food too. So
Hmm.
anything salty, savory, tacos, Mexican food, that was like my go-to. Yeah. So yeah, and then as I mentioned, I was already told that I had to have this C-section.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so being told I had to have a C-section, I was prepared for that. Um, Even though, I had wished that I could do this, um, more naturally, I guess I would say. When I say that, I mean, like, I always wanted to have a home birth.
Mm.
After knowing as I'm older that that was possible. When I was,
Hmm.
younger and I had my other children, I never heard of that before. I never heard of a doula or anything like that. But, with the advice of my doctor, and then I did get a doula, and with the advice of my doula, I was told that, the C-section is what was necessary just for my own health and concerns, as well as the baby, because the way the incision, I guess, for my myomectomy, because I had to have, um, when I had my myomectomy, they didn't do like the scope. I had to have the incision like how you would like a C-section. And because of that, I was at high risk for my uterus to rupture during
Oh my.
delivery if I was to even have a contraction at all. They did not want me to go into labor at all.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I was told that I would have to deliver at 36 weeks at the very latest. And
Whoa.
yeah, yeah. I was very concerned about that. And so, yeah, that was that, and then also I had extremely low iron. So I had to go to have iron infusions weekly during this pregnancy. And, when you're high risk anyways, because of my age, you're getting your monthly ultrasounds. Then, you see your doctor, like your visits increase a lot earlier. So at one
Hmm.
point in my pregnancy, I was going to the hospital and to my doctor and to my iron infusions 5 times a week,
Wow.
which was a lot.
Uh-huh.
Like I would literally leave one appointment and then go to the next appointment and then to the next appointment.
Oh my gosh. 5 times a week.
Yes, 5 times a week, just to
Wow.
make sure me and the baby were okay.
Wow.
Which,
So,
at first I was gonna say, at first in the beginning you're excited, you're seeing the baby, you have the ultrasounds like all the time, and then after a while you're like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, I've seen the baby about 50 times now.
you should get like a screenshot of all of your pictures or ultrasound photos. That'd be
Yes,
fun.
yes.
Going back to your doula, how did you decide to do a doula, and how did you use her, or how did she help knowing you were going to have a
Yeah.
C-section?
Yeah, she helped me a lot, and a doula for me was like without a doubt. So, um, by profession, I am a executive director for a reproductive justice organization. So, I'm fully aware of how doulas are, important and how they support you in many, different aspects when it comes to your pregnancy. Also, I am a Black woman, and there is infant and mortality and maternal mortality rates that are increased for Black women. And so for me, it was not only just having someone to, support me in the birthing process, but just also be my advocate and making sure that um, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm sensing, and making sure that like I'm heard and seen and visible during this process and really being in tune to my body in ways in which the maternal healthcare system has sometimes failed Black women.
Mm.
So it was really important to me to have my doula. And also, my doula was so helpful to me because, like I said, I was supposed to deliver at 36 weeks, and I did not want my child to ultimately be in a NICU, and I didn't want to have a premature baby. I wanted to deliver at full term. Well, not, consider full term, 37 weeks and beyond. So
Mm.
I had to really advocate for that because I was due in October, but they wanted me to deliver, I want to say, I was due October 20th, but they wanted me to deliver no later than September 25th. So I pushed at least to have my baby in the month of October.
Mm.
And my doctor kind of didn't advise it. And every time I went in there, he kept saying, have you changed your mind? I'm like, no. But I really advocated for myself to have my daughter on October 3rd. And, as you can see, I'm all about these numbers and like selecting these
Mm-hmm.
dates ahead of time. And me and my husband went out on our first date on October 3rd. So I was like, I'm going to have this baby on October 3rd. And I did.
I love it. Spoken
So
like a true planner.
I am. I'm also a Virgo too. So it's like everything's on the calendar, like, okay, and organized in a certain fashion. But,
Hmm.
but yes. So that was one thing. And then also, I did start having pre-labor at 36 weeks. So I will give my doctor credit. He was correct. My body at 36 weeks was kind of like telling me like this baby is coming. But it didn't progress. So I was in labor for about 2 weeks before I decided myself. I listened to my own body when my contractions started getting closer within 5 minutes apart. And I started getting more uncontrollable pain, and I started having like back spasms and back labor.
Mm.
I called my doctor then and was like, okay, I'm ready.
Mm.
And I was already scheduled though. He listened to me. He had already scheduled me, but I knew at that moment that my body was like ready. So I went in, and even though I was scheduled, it was still kind of like quickly because they did not want me to progress in the labor any further. So I got to the hospital. I was in the OR within an hour. Like it was fast.
So were your
Yeah.
fibroids painful at all during your pregnancy?
No, I didn't have any pain. Not until I literally, started going into that pre-labor.
Mm,
Other than that, I felt pretty good. I had the low iron, so I was very fatigued.
mm,
Um, just the shortness of breath, not being able to like walk long distances and things like that. So I did have to take it easy.
mm.
And I have lots of kids, so grocery store, I had them running around grabbing the groceries, loading the carts up. So yeah, but other than that, it was pretty good. Just other
Good.
than the fatigue.
Okay, so now you're in the hospital and you're 36 weeks?
I made it to 37 weeks and 4 days.
Okay.
So I went over just because, like I mentioned, I really advocated for getting close to full term, as much as possible. And I at least wanted her to be 37 weeks. And yeah, and then during that time when I was having free labor, one of the other things and I'm not recommending this for everyone, this is what was best for me. This was, my decision that I made and listening to my body and what I wanted, for my child. I just didn't want the possibility of my child to be premature.
Hmm.
And I felt that I could go, but it was day by day that I listened to my body to see if I needed to go into the hospital and, have my C-section. But I also declined any checking of my cervix because I was having a C-section. And I was afraid that checking the cervix would cause me to dilate or speed up my labor when I know I was trying to delay it.
Hmm.
My doctor did want to check my cervix at that 36-week mark, like they normally do. I declined. The advice to my doula as well and advocating for me. When I got to the hospital and I knew my labor had sped up and it was time, they also asked to check my cervix then too. Declined again. Um, they contacted my doctor. It was a nurse, and my doctor was like, they were like, "Well, I have to talk to your doctor," and my doctor was like, "Just let her be. Like she's going to
Hmm.
decline."
Good for
So he
him.
was like, "Yes, good for him," and he just was like, "Go ahead and get the OR together," because they wanted to see if we needed to speed it up or wait based on how far I was dilated. He was like, "Just get the OR together." So yeah, so I was delivering, like I said, within an hour. It was surreal. I never had a C-section before, so didn't really know what to expect. But the team was just so wonderful. They helped me feel very relaxed. They explained, every step of the way to process. During the C-section, you're not allowed to like see anything. So they had the drape up, but I
Hmm.
did ask for them to do once they got to the point where they could actually deliver her and take her, out. I asked them to drop like the drape where I couldn't see through, and so it was like a clear see through, like kind of like a little plastic
Hmm.
thing that they had up, so we could see the baby. So that was nice, and also I asked them to delay clamping of the umbilical cord as much as they could, which is 1 minute was the longest. And because we couldn't break the like sterile barrier that they had, my husband was not able to cut the umbilical cord, but
Mm.
they did like a modified version of the cut where they cut it, and then when they took her out of the sterile environment, like they left an extra piece of the umbilical cord, made it a little longer, so he was still able to kind of cut, the umbilical cord. So we could still have like that, feeling of that we were
Yeah.
involved in the process.
Hmm.
So I tried to do that as much as possible. Also, my doula was in my delivery room with me. So I had my husband and my doula, which is not standard practice.
Yeah.
Um, they denied me at first. I got denied a lot for having my doula with me. Like I got denied with my iron infusions. I got denied when I first went back for delivery. But
Hmm.
I literally had to advocate and fight every step of the way. And eventually, I was the night in the beginning of all those visits, but in the end, she ended up coming with me to those visits. So when I first went back into delivery, they denied her. And I said, no, no, she's coming with me. And for me, it's not so much as like just having that extra like supportive person there, but it's like also like a very cultural practice for me. I mean, I needed my doula with me just as much as I needed my husband. And
Mm-hmm.
because the delivering or giving birth is like it's overwhelming for me and my husband. Like we both
Mm-hmm.
needed someone for us.
Yeah.
So she came into the delivery room with me, which I was so surprised they let her do that.
You fought
But
for it, I know, though. I
I
love that.
did. And it was beautiful because my husband was so overwhelmed. He couldn't take any pictures. He did. They both had their phones, and the only
Hmm.
pictures we had was from my doula. So we got the most beautiful pictures of me and him and the whole process because she was there with us. So I just don't know what I would have done without her.
I wondered who took those pictures because I saw him on Instagram and I was like, does he have a really long arm or a tripod?
No. Yes. Nope, that was my doula.
Wow,
She
that's
was
great.
incredible. Yes, she was.
That
I owe her everything.
Yeah, and just to be surrounded by women, I think is a really great support
Yes,
system while you're having birth.
absolutely. And I'm just proud of my husband too for accepting and realizing that.
Hmm.
In the beginning, he was like, what is a doula and why do you need a doula? Like,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, because like I need, to your point, someone who truly understands what it means to give birth. My doula has a child, truly understands, and like you said, just being surrounded by women and just that nurturing, intimate process. And also, she was there when he had to work and things like that. Like to my doctor's, but I had 5 a week at one point,
Hmm.
so she was there for me. And yeah, we have a special bond, and she's still there for me, postpartum.
Hmm. And how was your postpartum?
It's going pretty good. So during my delivery, my surgery was pretty difficult because I had a lot of scar tissue. So my doctor, my obstetrician also brought in a more senior, obstetrician with him to help, with the surgery. And they had to, cut through a lot of scar tissue around my uterus and abdomen. And at one point, I was getting nervous because I could feel the bed like shaking, like they were tugging so hard to try to get
Oh
to
my.
her.
Oh.
Yes, yes. And I was grimacing, and my husband kept saying, like, can you feel pain? I'm like, I can't, but I can feel, the pressure and the
Mhm.
tugging, and I can hear the rattling, of the bed. And so, like one of the pictures, you can almost see like a vein almost like popping out of my head because I can feel so much pressure and tugging, but I did
Oh
not
my
feel
God.
any pain.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, my recovery was a little rough, obviously, a lot of pain. And I stayed and because of that, they had me in a hospital for the entire 4 days. And then when I got home, it was it was healing okay. And then one day I got out the shower and I could see blood like just kind of dripping down from my incision. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, well, maybe, I rubbed it the wrong way or something. So I called into the doctor. They were like, well, just watch it, making sure like nothing rubbed up against it. And then I just realized it was just too much blood. So I
Mm.
called back. They had me come in and my incision had opened up because it didn't heal um, well, so right
Hmm.
there in the office, he had to literally open up my entire incision, drain it, and then pack it with gauze. And he wanted to order me a wound vac. And a wound vac is just like a device that helps drain your wound to help prevent like further infection.
Hmm.
And I was alarmed at that, and I just, I also have a medical background, and so I know what a wound vac is, and I was just kind of very alarmed, and I'm like, how am I going to breastfeed the baby and hold the baby? And then he said, okay, there's another way we can do this. And it's called wet to dry dressing. So you have to pack your wound with a wet dressing with saline and then a dry dressing. And then you put like a gauze or bandage over top of that. And I had to do that twice a day. So I did
Whoa.
that twice a day, yeah, for 2 weeks. So my husband had to like pack the hole in my stomach, and then I was on antibiotics as well for 2 whole weeks. But it closed up very quickly. I seen him after I went in the doctor's office that day, and then I was scheduled to go back the next week. When I went back the next week, the hole was very small, and by 2 weeks, it had closed up all the way.
Oh, good. What a relief.
Yes. I'm sharing that now like it was nothing, but going through that process it was very hard. I was very emotional over it. Just like, I think as a mother, you internalize a lot and you always think about what could you have done differently, or like, was it my fault that, this opened back up, or should I have listened to my doctor more, things like that. But
Hmm.
and just the unknowing and fear of like, is this going to heal? Like, how long am I going to have this, opening in my stomach? And is it going to get infected? Things like that. But in hindsight and looking back, I know that I made all the right decisions and I would not change anything. And I think at the end of the day, it's about listening to yourself, listening to your body, and being in tune, even despite what others may perceive to be best for you. I think as well.
That's right. How did breastfeeding go? How is it going? I think that's what you're doing right now.
Yes. Breastfeeding is good. When I was in the hospital, my milk was kind of slow to come in because I was, delivered a little early. And so I did have to supplement with some formula in the beginning. And then once we got home, though, my milk started to pick up. And I am just strictly breastfeeding right now. So no bottle, no pacifier. And she's 2 months. And I'm starting to be like, okay, but I need to be more diligent, I say, on pumping. I just haven't been. I'm just going to be fully honest. So, and she's growing and she's healthy. I mean, she's like, in the 85th percentile for weight and height. So, yeah, she's getting all the nutrients she needs. I have, 16 weeks off of work.
Oh,
And
nice.
yes, yes. So I don't have a lot of pressure right now to like, get her back on the bottle and things like that. So I can, obviously go back to work and things. And then also at work, we have a policy that you can bring your child to work, until they are 8 months old. So, yeah, I have time.
Oh, that's really nice. And you plan to do that.
Absolutely. A lot of my work is remote, but the times where I will be in office and or have meetings, people know I will have my baby with me.
That's really great. I love that. I wish I had that option.
I know, me too with my other. So I
Yeah.
feel very relaxed, not stressed at all. And I think that's also helpful. Like even though I've had, some hiccups along the way with the pregnancy, I just had so much overwhelming support. I just had a lot of people to pour into me, and it just makes things go so much better. And with my other two kids, I did have postpartum depression, but with Note, I am constantly checking in with myself, even in stressful situations. I'm like, are you okay though? Like, are you truly okay? I'm just like, because I'm so used to like being, not it being this smooth sailing, I guess, even with my own emotional and mental state. And
Hmm.
so this time around, I'm just like, can't believe how much more relaxed and at ease I feel.
Hmm.
And I do believe, yes, a lot of that obviously is just hormonal and things like that, but it is a support system that I'm so thankful that I have right now. Like me having my husband and just supportive environment at work and just support with my family and my team. And yeah, I feel so incredibly lucky and blessed.
That's great. And do you think you're going to have more kids in your 40s?
I would like to, believe it or not.
Oh.
I would like to have one more. I'm all about this manifestation of my life, and
it has worked for you.
It has worked for me. And I, had always envisioned having 2 children with my husband. Mm-hmm. So I hope that we get to have the second baby, and then I will definitely be done after that. But, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm just so happy, that we have this little girl. I gave birth to her at 44 on my own, and it's so unheard of. I mean, I just haven't met a lot of people who've done that. And also just like being told so many times that it wasn't going to happen, that I'm just so happy where we're at. But if we have another child, I will just be, so much more happier. I do have to wait at least a year to give my body a chance to heal. I haven't even been to my postpartum appointment with my doctor yet. I'm due to go in there, but it's the holiday season. He has to catch me a little bit out, which is fine because I'm doing well. But he said if I'm doing good, then I can possibly start trying at 6 months postpartum. So, because my age, that lingering factor is always in the back of your head. So
hurry.
Yes, yes.
And what do you think your biggest challenge has been being pregnant in your 40s?
I don't know. I had so many more challenges with my other pregnancy, I feel like, when I was younger, that this one just has been such smooth sailing. Like, I just been good. Like, I can't be
perfect. I love that. That's
okay. Good. Like, I really can't say that I've had any challenges, to tell you the truth. I think, when you get older, I had my first baby at 18, and, there's many challenges there, but, I'm more secure, stable. I know what I want. I know who I am. I can speak up for myself. And I've been, mothering children for 26 years. So I'm kind of pro at this. So I feel really, really good.
And what advice would you have for other women that are pregnant over 40?
Don't believe what everybody tells you. It is possible. You can do it. Try to stay positive. Listen to your body. Listen to your baby. Believe in yourself. And it is definitely possible.
And do you have anything else to add? And where can listeners find you on the internet?
I'm on Instagram, and my Instagram, I want to say, is RHIA Carnes, Rhea Carnes.
I'll leave it in the description, in the notes. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And I can't wait to see that next pregnancy announcement.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Wasn't that a great story? I hope she continues to heal successfully so she can try next year. And I love how she advocated for herself and was able to have a doula in the room while she was having a C-section. I mean, those photos are just so precious of them together, so adorable. And on next week's show, we have Victoria from New Mommy at 40 podcast. I can't wait to share with you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.